Hello, my name is Benji and welcome to Dice vs Cards. Today we go back to the 41st millennium to find out the best way to pick an army. Be it because you're just getting into the hobby or you're looking to expand your suite of available armies. We'll cover some background fluff and playstyle for each and then centre the discussion around the start collecting sets Games Workshop offers. We've already talked about those ever reliable Space Marines, but what about the supporting cast for the Imperium of Man? Well, today we've got you covered. Whilst the steroid freak Marines might get all the fanfare, it's the guys in the background that keep the Imperium from falling completely from grace and maintaining their foothold on the galaxy. They each have a different role in keeping things afloat, and so we're going to go very loosely from largest to smallest in terms of available models, and as before use GW's start collecting boxes as the basis of our recommendations. When we look at these start collecting boxes throughout this series of videos, we're going to be giving them marks in terms of value for power. In other words, how much power or points are you getting for your buck in an actual game. We're also going to mark for value in terms of model count and variety, in order to give a view of how someone more interested in painted would look at the box. And we'll be giving an overall value for money mark as well. In other words, how much would this have cost me separately? First up then is the endless rank and file of the Astra Militarum. Regular humans kitted out with basic Imperial weaponry and tasked with being the primary defenders of the Imperium. Whereas the Marines are the surgical knife, the Imperial Guard, as they're colloquially known, are the blunt instrument, using pure weight of numbers to get the job done. In playstyle terms, they rely heavily on weight and volume of range firepower, both on their infantry and their array of artillery and tanks. The Astra Militarum have two boxes to choose from. The first is your standard and slightly older box with 1 HQ, 1 troop, 1 elite and 1 heavy support choice. Nice and well rounded, warranting a mark of a B when it comes to how much power you can get to the table. A similar B in terms of value for painters, but unfortunately a C for overall value for money. The second box, Militarum Tempestus, houses your elite Imperial Guard troopers. Inside you'll find 1 troop, 2 elite and 1 dedicated transport choice, indicating that this is more of a supplementary product, and unfortunately only warrants a D for getting power to the table. Things somewhat improved for the painters out there, because in terms of volume and variety it gets a reasonable C. Ironically, however, the overall value for money gets a solid B. Next up is the Adeptus Mechanicus, the arm of Imperium focused on science and engineering. As such, you'll find gadgets and technological marvels aplenty. They're responsible for guarding the knowledge of the Imperium's advanced technology, and they have somewhat unorthodox religious beliefs in that they do not consider the Emperor of Mankind a deity, only their leader, preferring to worship the mythical machine god. On the battlefield they are considered an elite army and able to competently shoot and dabble in close combat, but they're certainly not the most durable of armies, and they also have a fairly limited selection of models. As far as their start collecting box goes, you're looking at 1 HQ, 1 troop and 1 dedicated transport choice. Slightly unconventional, but that sticks with the theme, I suppose. In terms of marks, we're looking at a meagre D when considering how much power it brings for its cost, an average C for volume and variety of models, and also a C for overall value for money. Unfortunately, at this point we've run out of start collecting boxes to anchor to, but that doesn't mean we've exhausted all that the Imperium has to offer, just that the rest, to varying degrees, will act as a secondary element to your army, usually filling their own detachment within your larger force. That being said, the Adeptus Saroitus, or Sisters of Battle, have roughly the same amount of choice as the Adeptus Mechanicus, and so could, if you really wanted to, act as a standalone army. They're a highly religious, all-female subfaction, acting as the military arm of the ministerial order of the Imperium. They benefit from a lot of the same weaponry and armour as their Space Marine brothers, but have not undergone the same physical transformation. When looking at first purchases, you'll be looking at models like the Cannon S as a HQ choice, the Battle Sister Squad for your rank and file, and a tank like the Exorcist to deliver some heavy weaponry to the battlefield. We then have these golden show ponies, the Adeptus Custodes, that could easily have been in the Space Marine list because they are in so many ways super Space Marines, tasked with being the personal bodyguards and defenders of the Golden Throne, which the Emperor of Mankind is interred upon. If you like the idea of Space Marines but want an even more elite force with a smaller model count, then look no further. Some of your first purchases might be along the lines of Shield Captains on Dawn Eagle jet bikes as a HQ choice, Custodian Wardens as a troop choice, and a Venerable Land Raider as a heavy support choice. We then move from very gold to very big, with the walking, not talking, giant robot looking Imperial Knights. Each of these rather large footprints on the table are piloted by members of an aristocratic culture, broken down into houses, and standing between 30 and 40 foot tall. These guys are kitted out with some awesome weaponry. As you'd expect, you don't need to run many of these to ramp up your army's points total, or you can even take a handful of them as one large army. Nevertheless, there are 2 core boxes that come with full-sized knights at slightly different prices and with different loadouts for the class of giant robot you're going for. Some specialise more with ranged and some focus more energies on close combat. And lest we not forget, there are also some diet robots called armigers that you can buy into to supplement the theme. So those are your secondary armies, but believe it or not, there's a tertiary level of Imperial specialists that absolutely cannot function as standalone armies, but here, reporting for duty nonetheless, act as bespoke detachments. The Inquisition are closely allied with the Adeptus Saroitus and act as the Imperium's secret police. You then have the Officio Assassinorum, who, as the name suggests, are the Assassins Guild of the Imperium, each with a particular set of skills. And finally, the Sisters of Silence, de facto witch hunters tasked with hunting down rogue psychers and other psychic threats across the galaxy. All of these subfactions can be found under the banner of the Imperium of Man on GW's website. So there you have it, your alternative choices when it comes to picking an army bound to the Imperium. We hope you found this helpful in pointing you in the right direction. Look out for the remainder of the series, where we'll be covering all of the Chaos Forces and the Xenos races. However, that's it from me. I'll see you next time.